Hello and welcome to Vintage Horror Movies, where we provide commentary, analysis, and criticism of older horror movies. This time we're talking about Haxan. This is a 1922 Danish silent movie. The title translates to The Witch. It was written and directed by Benjamin Christensen, starring Christensen, who plays the devil, and a lot of other people I won't mention here because there are a lot of people in this movie. I just want to mention one, which is Astrid Holm is in here, and you'll remember her back from The Phantom Carriage, which we talked about in the last episode. This film is part documentary, part narrative, and uses stage tricks, puppetry, and innovative camera work, such as stop motion animation, superimposition, reverse motion, and miniature sets to depict witchcraft through the ages. It's tinted in sepia, red for the devil, I guess, and blue for nighttime scenes. The runtime is 1 hour 45 minutes. There are no official remakes of Haxan, however, the movie was re-edited and released in the U.S. in 1968 under the title Witchcraft Through the Ages by Metro Pictures Corp. They added narration instead of the intertitle cards by William S. Burroughs and a jazz score by Daniel Humer. This version is 77 minutes long, so 30 minutes shorter than the original. I will say that the jazz score seems to be a strange choice. This version has a whole different vibe to it and seems to assert that there were actual witches, which is the opposite of the original movie. So you just have to watch it and let me know what you think. Criterion also restored the film and released it on DVD in 2001. There are a number of other restorations. There is also something called Haxan 2, but it's a horror movie based on a novel by Jake Martin, and it has nothing to do with this Haxan. Where to find this movie? There are a number of copies on the Internet Archive, both in Swedish and English, and the Criterion versions. There's one in Polish. It's also available on YouTube. There are several copies on several copies on YouTube. It's available on Tubi and also on Max or Amazon for a fee. The original 1922 film is in the public domain, but that doesn't mean the restorations or parts of the score are in the public domain as well. The plot. So I already said that Haxan uses a combo of documentary and narrative storytelling for this work, which seems to be along the lines of an academic work. Christensen attempted to document witchcraft from the Middle Ages through the 20th century. He was extremely meticulous in his research, and some of the movie is based on and I'm going to mess this title up, Malleus Maleficorum, which means Hammer of the Witches, which was written in 1487 by Heinrich Kramer. He was an inquisitor as a way to identify witches. So the film starts with a title card reading a cultural and historical presentation in moving pictures in 7 parts. And I'll just show you a couple of pictures from those along the way. This is the first picture, which is actually of Christensen. He's looking a little devilish there himself. Part 1 is documentary style with woodcuts, visual representations of witches, and how people viewed the cosmos back then, both how the earth and planets moved, how God controlled all of that. I think I have a pic of that. And Christensen uses a pointer to point to the different things that are moving around. So here's the planets. Here is the sun. So I guess we thought the earth moved around the sun at that point. And then the different planets. And then here is God and the angels. He also did one of hell, in which the demons torture people and put them in cauldrons. Part 2 are vignettes of various beliefs held about witches and witchcraft. And this seems to be, I started to say the largest part, but actually parts 3 through 5 are the largest parts. So let me show you one picture. This is Maria the Weaver, and um, there are a number of little vignettes about her and how she was treated. Parts 3 to 5, as I said, show the treatment of suspected witches throughout history, and it wasn't good. Inner titles claim that over 8 million women, men, and children were burned as witches. I'm not sure that's true. ChatGPT says that some 40 to 60,000 people, mostly women, were accused of witchcraft and killed between 1450 and 1750. So that's a big difference in the numbers. However, any is too many because obviously many of these women aren't guilty of anything except being poor, old, outcasts, possibly mentally ill, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. And even nuns weren't safe. So basically, no women were safe from this. And like we said, some men and children were also accused, but it was primarily women. What would happen to someone who was tortured is they would then confess to whatever, obviously, because they were being tortured, and then they would name several other people that were also witches. They would make outlandish stories just to keep from being tortured. The stories that are depicted here include dancing around during the Whippet Sabbath, the devil, and you name it, killing, drinking blood of babies, just all sorts of craziness. So here is one of the most common pictures, which is, I guess, the devil or demons here, and then other people around. And then here's one actually of the devil, which, as I said, is played by Christensen himself. And then parts 6 through 7 show how society sees things differently now. What could have been the cause of what was viewed as witches, as we said, mental illness, neurological disorders referred to here as hysteria, political or religious reasons or motives, poverty, the suppression of women, fear mongering, etc. Now, on to a little trivia. Haxan is the most expensive silent film ever made at that time, costing some 2 million kroner, and I'm not sure how much that is in US dollars. The US, Germany, and France banned the movie due to graphic depictions of torture, nudity, sexual perversion, and being anti-clerical. It was labeled, quote, unfit for public exhibition when it first came out. Haxan is considered Christensen's masterpiece. Most of the film was shot at night, which was unheard of at the time. The film was originally supposed to be the first of a trilogy, but that didn't happen. Haxan Films, the creator of the movie The Blair Witch Trial, took their name from the movie. Some people have even said Haxan might be the first found footage film. I think that's a bit of a stretch, but that's what they say. The original copyright holder failed to renew the copyright, so lots of different copies of Haxan exist. It took 3 years to make the movie. A statue of a demon. Let me show you that. I forgot to do these two. Come back to that in a second. A statue of a demon shown here. This is from the first section of the movie. I think this is Pazuzu, as in Pazuzu from The Exorcist. He's from Mesopotamian folklore, the son of the wind god Hanbi, Hanbi. He is blamed for droughts, locust swarms, and famines. Although he's a demon, he is able to repel worse demons who are believed to cause things like seizures in infants or kill mothers during childbirth. I don't know. I don't think I would try to mess with him at all, but it's just weird because when I saw that, I'm like, hey, that's Pazuzu. So the two slides that I skipped were some of the most important. This is where you have witches flying over. It's an extended scene flying over areas including tall houses. You can barely see the witches here. And then, of course, here's the demons. And there's another one of that here. So you can see the witches there. This was in part done by taking videos like women riding broomsticks, a number of different women, and then having houses built on, I think, 6-foot tall houses built on a turntable that it took like 20 something guys to turn, and then playing the witches flying in the background with the turntable turning. I think it's worth watching the movie just for those scenes because that's a pretty cool scene right now. So I can imagine 100 years ago that probably blew people's minds. So Haxan is listed in the top 10 great silent movies in many best of lists, including the list from the British Film Institute. Haxan caused riots in Spain when it was accused of being blasphemous because, among other things, it contained scenes of nuns kissing the devil's ass. And the most famous scenes, as I just said, were witches on broomsticks soaring above houses, also demons residing over sacrifices, witches' Sabbath, and poor old women being tortured. Should you watch this movie? Yes, I think you should. This is a great example of how creative movie makers were in early cinema, because this is from 1922, and how it accurately depicted the difference between what people thought about witches then and what people think about witches now with the advent of modern medicine. I will say that the original is a bit hard to get through with its runtime. It drags a bit in the middle due to all the parts. You might want to watch it just in different sections. Of course, I have a limited attention span, so maybe that's why I had a hard time getting through the whole thing. But I would suggest you watch the William S. Burroughs version, which is 30 minutes shorter. However, like I said, it has a completely different vibe, which completely changes, I think, what Christensen was trying to do with the original. So definitely, if you haven't checked out Haxan, please do, and let me know what you think in the comments. Please subscribe or give us a thumbs up if you like what you're hearing. And until next time, my advice is don't be afraid of the witches, be afraid of the witch hunters. Until next time.